What's up, everybody? I'm here today with Dan Allen. He's an awesome lender here in Salt Lake City. Covers Utah. He's with a large lending company called Academy Mortgage. And really today we deep dive in what it takes to buy a home. First-time home buyers, grants, things that you can do to utilize a lender and kind of the steps you need to take in order to get your home buying process started. So Dan, how you doing? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Jake, man. Appreciate it. So my name is Dan Allen. I'm with Academy Mortgage. I've been doing loans for 11 or 12 years. Absolutely love it. When I'm not doing mortgages, I like to be outside. I like boating, jeeping, camping, anything outdoorsy. It's my kind of thing.
Perfect. And Dan, how long have you been growing your beard for?
Nobody knows. I never shave it off. So it's like probably the last 10 or 12 years or something like that.
I love it. So Dan, I know a lot of people have asked, like, what is a lender's job in the real estate transaction? What do you do? Can you give me a little bit of information on that?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So lender and real estate agents actually work really close together. Lender's job is to connect buyers with loan options, kind of like the money guy. So a realtor is going to help you find a house, get under contract on a house, even sell a house. Loan officer or lender will help connect you with that money that you need to buy the house or a certain loan option. That's the main like high level stuff. Behind the scenes, lenders have a lot of paperwork that they do, ordering appraisals, talking to title companies, talking to real estate agents, and just making sure the transaction goes smooth altogether.
Perfect. And so for somebody that's just looking to buy a home, what's the first step? Do they reach out to an agent? Do they come to you? Like where's somebody going to start in that process?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. Honestly, you can talk to an agent or a lender first. We both kind of work simultaneously, and we work together to make sure the transaction happens as smooth as possible. Before you go start shopping for a house, though, you're going to want to talk to a loan officer or a lender and make sure you've done an application and a pre-approval. And that'll help figure out what kind of loan options work best for you, what your budget is, what you can afford, or what you can't afford. And so, if you talk to a real estate agent first, they will usually get you in touch with the lender as well, because you really can't start shopping until you've done that pre-approval and you're out, ready to go. You know what you can afford.
Perfect. And I know in the real estate world, a lot of people throw around pre-approval and pre-qualify. Can you just tell
Mhm.
me like what's the difference between those two?
Yeah, they're pretty similar. So pre-qualification is basically once you've done an application, we've been able to look at your credit report, usually look at your income documentation, and from there we can figure out which loan product's going to work, what you qualify for, and you're basically pre-qualified. And we can send a letter, a pre-qualification letter, and you can start shopping with a pre-qualification letter, and that's what most lenders do. A pre-approval is once you've gone a little bit further in the process. We have all that same information, your credit reports, your income documents, but it's actually been through underwriting once, and now you have an approved loan before you even find a house necessarily.
Okay, so when you start the home shopping process, when you're working with your agent, you really should get pre-approved. What's so important on that? Like what, as a home seller, somebody that's listing their home, why would a pre-approval letter help in your case to buy that home?
Yeah, so when you're sitting in offers to buy a house, almost every seller and the selling agent is going to want to make sure that you've been pre-approved for financing for that house. If you send in an offer without a pre-approval letter or a verification of like a lot of funds that you're just going to buy this place in cash, you're going to need a pre-approval letter. So if you want to get any offer accepted, you're definitely going to need a pre-approval or a pre-qualification letter first.
Perfect. And so you'd say first step for a first-time home buyer, get pre-approved, correct?
Correct. Yep. Talk to a loan officer, get pre-approved. Yep.
Perfect. So where would you start that process and like what would somebody do to prepare for that process?
Good question. So what I would say is debt is bad right now. The first thing you can do is try to get out of debt or get rid of as much debt as you possibly can. And then once you talk to a loan officer along the way or a lender along the way, because sometimes certain debt that you want to pay off isn't going to make the biggest impact on what you qualify for. We don't care necessarily about what you owe, we care about the monthly payments on that. So paying off a credit card might make less sense than paying off a car or vice versa. We want to get rid of the biggest payments first, and that'll make the biggest impact on what you actually qualify for with your house. So even if you're months away from buying, first thing you want to do is just talk to somebody, make a game plan, figure out what the best strategy is and how to get rid of the debt as fast as you possibly can so you can qualify for more money.
Perfect. And I'm going to throw a curveball at you, Dan. let's say somebody has bad credit. Let's say somebody thinks their finances are not where they should be. They're like, oh, there's no way I could qualify for a home. Should they sit on
Mm.
the sideline and wait, or should they still start this process and really kind of get over that fear of getting going? Because I think in real estate, a lot of people wait until the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Whereas as a lender, working with money, like should they start today or should they wait until, down the road when they're a little bit more financially stable? Like, what's your advice on that?
Yeah, definitely get started today. You never know what position or situation you're actually in until you talk to a professional and they can help you figure it out. If you've got bad credit, that's fine. I promise I've seen the worst of everything. And so I've partnered up with a credit repair team. They're awesome. If you just need a few easy things done, we can actually do some of that in-house. And credit's one of those things that it can take a while to build. It might take several months to fix credit. So unless you start right away, you're just delaying the process even more. If you don't have a down payment, that doesn't matter. If your credit's not great, doesn't matter. Figure out what you want and we can make the game plan to help you get there.
That's amazing. And so one thing you mentioned with down payment, are there loan types that offer, a range of down payment?
Yeah, no, for sure. So you don't even have to be a first-time home buyer to get down payment assistance. There's lots of programs out there. If you are a first-time home buyer, sometimes you get a little bit better perks. Sometimes you get a little bit lower interest rate on some of those programs. Certain counties have grants right now. Davis County, for example, has a $50,000 down payment assistance grant right now, and you don't even have to be a first-time home buyer.
Wow.
So it's massive. So there's a ton of help out there. And so we just want to figure out where you're buying, what the best loan option is for you. I'll go search for every grant, every down payment assistance thing that there is and help you qualify for it. If you have money to put down, that's great too, because the less you finance, obviously, the lower your house payment is. But if you don't have the down payment, don't sweat it. We can help you.
Perfect. And so as like a buyer, if I meet with you, you're going to kind of help me figure out what my payment would be, what I should expect, the cost, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll dial it right down to current interest rates based on that day, based on your scenario, certain price level to look at, price range to look at, and exactly the monthly payment that you can qualify for. And so when you're out shopping, kind of every house you look at, roughly what the house payment would be. And so you're not, just wondering what it looks like.
Perfect. And I'm going to dial it back. You mentioned first-time home buyers, and sometimes there's some assistance with that, right? First-time home buyers, sometimes they don't have enough for a down payment, or they don't have things, all set in stone to purchase a house. They've never done it before. Are there ways or options or programs where a first-time home buyer can get some aid in that process? Like
Yeah, for
you
sure.
mentioned a grant. Grant's a good example. Are there things like that for first-time home buyers?
Yes, lots of first-time home buyer things. So it depends on which city you're in, and county you're in. Will depend on different types of grants. There's also just a flat out no money down program. It's through Utah Housing Corporation that we sell a ton of here. It's very, very popular. Interest rates are awesome. And you can be a first-time home buyer and get the best rate. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer and get just a little bit higher rate, but it's essentially it's a down payment assistance program where you literally can buy a house with no money out of pocket as far as down payment goes. So if you talk to a lender, they will know, or they should know anyway, where to find these programs and which ones you'll qualify for.
Now, Dan, I just want to ask you one more thing. There's kind of a lot of ifs, ands, and buts about the 2024 market. As a lender, you work in this every single day. What are your thoughts on the market?
I'm really optimistic about this market. We can see things have already changed, like through the end of December through January. A couple of months ago, interest rates are about 8%, and now they've come down significantly since then. And we expect a few more rate drops throughout this year. So if you've been waiting to buy, I think right now is a great time to buy. As interest rates continue to go down, you can always refinance later. Find the house that you want. If you can qualify for it and you can stomach the payment for a while, you can always refinance later. But if you wait, I'm afraid the way this market's going to go, home prices will continue to go up, and they'll probably go up a little bit faster and more than they did last year. So that same house now might cost $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more by the end of the year if you wait. So in my opinion, I would say buy sooner than later to get ahead of the curve before the prices continue to inflate.
One thing in there, you mentioned refinance. Like what is refinance? So are you telling me that my mortgage rate isn't set forever? Like if I sign a 30-year loan, you're telling me there's an opportunity to lower my rates if the rate's lower?
Yes, absolutely. So once you buy your house, if you're locked into a 30-year fixed rate, it's going to stay that way forever, but it doesn't have to if you don't want to. You can take advantage of good market conditions anytime the market improves. So if in 6 months from now, interest rates drop 1% or more, you can refinance that loan, take the lower interest rate, sometimes get rid of your mortgage insurance as well. Better interest rate will lower your payment. We did lots of these during the COVID thing when there was, interest rates were at an all-time low and clients were saving hundreds. I even had dozens of clients save over $1,000 a month on their house payment. So refinance is an awesome, awesome tool. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that later this year as rates come down.
Awesome. So basically what you're telling me, if you're not working with an agent, work with an agent, reach out to you, get the loan process started, figure out your budget, which is all things that you can do. And then that's kind of the first steps on the home search process, correct?
Absolutely. Let's make a plan, get it in place, figure out a timeline that works for you. And then at least you know what you're up against. And you might be able to buy right away. You just don't know.
Perfect. And so Dan, I appreciate your time. Last thing, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Honestly, I give everybody my cell phone number. You can call or text me. I hope we can put it here on the screen, and email address as well. So you can call, text, email anytime. If I'm not available, I've got a team to back me up. And so that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Perfect. Well, Dan, I really appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to mention?
Honestly, the market's hot right now. It's just going to get hotter. So if you've been waiting, stop waiting. Don't stand on the side. It's going to pass you by.
The first step, just start.
Just start somewhere. Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, buddy.